So what's up, guys? Thanks for checking out this week's project on BeachBumLivin. This week I plan on building a queen size headboard that's supposed to look like a picket fence's gate. So I'm just going to be using some wood that I have around the house, some old reclaimed barn wood, maybe some of that driftwood that I had found, and maybe even some pallet wood. So stay tuned, I'm going to show you how I get it done. Alright, so I'm ready to go ahead and get started on this project. I went ahead and laid out everything that I'll need for this. And as far as tools go, I don't really need too many this week. You know, I have like a sander, a saw, and a power drill, and a few measuring tools, but that should be enough to get this project done. It's not too complicated. As far as wood goes, I have the 4x4 posts that I still had left over from when I had collected that driftwood when that storm came through. So I have those, and that's going to be the, you know, the edge, basically the fence post, because this is replicating an old fence door, so that's going to be like the fence post. So I have those. As far as the wood that I'm using to build the door, I have this old barn wood that'll look really cool, I think. So I have that, and then I have some pallet wood as well that I'm going to use as like bracing for the back side of the fence door. So yeah, all the wood, you know, was free because I was able to, you know, salvage it or collect it. And I'll probably just need to use one new piece of board that I did have to go buy. It's a 2x6, and it won't even be seen. It'll actually be at the bottom of the project, just to be a really sturdy brace. So it actually will be below the bed level, so you won't even see it or anything. But that's pretty much it. Everything I'll need for this project, you know, and some screws and stuff like that. All right, so the first thing I'm going to be doing is building out the headboard frame. So I'm going to be using the 4x4 post. I'm going to cut those down to the length that I need, and then after that I'm going to add the bracing to connect the two 4x4 posts, which these will actually be the newer boards that I had bought that won't be seen, so they'll be at the bottom, and then I'll have probably a 2x4 brace at the top that'll be behind the actual fence door. Alright, so to add the 2x6 support into the 4x4 post, I'm going to cut a notch out, and what I'm doing is I'm just measuring up on each post 10 inches up, and then a 5.5 inch gap, because that's the width of the 2x6, and I know it's 1.5 inches thick, so I'm going to set my circular saw to 1.5 inches, and then I'm just going to cut this gap out, which will allow the 2x6 to fit in here flush, and it'll just be nice and clean, and it'll give it a nice support. Alright, so I just finished up building the frame. I kind of want to go over a couple of the things I did to get this done. You know, I started off with the 4x4 post. I added a couple braces. Down at the bottom I added a 2x6 by just notching it out so it's nice and flush on the back. So I got a 2x6 on the bottom, added a 2x4 on the top, and then I have this center brace, which is basically just going to be the bottom of where those barnwood planks come down to. That they're going to act like it's, you know, replicate that fence gate. So this is just added for just basically backing to the fence panels when I put them up. But I needed something at the top as a backing also, and what I came up with was just to add some pallet wood planks just to the front. I did that at the top and the bottom, and the idea I was having was, because when I add these fence panels to this, they're not all going to be flush. You know, some of them they're going to have some gaps in between, and instead of having that new wood behind it, you know, this will look kind of cool, I think, to have, you know, that pallet wood behind it instead. So I added that, and to kind of finish things off, I added these fence post toppers by just adding a piece of pallet wood cut down, and it acts as the base to this, and then I put a little bit of dark wax on it just to kind of age it up so it matches the rest of everything else. So, and to finish it up, I also went ahead and clear coat everything. I just thought it'd make it easier to go ahead and clear coat this section before I start adding the fence panels, and then it'll get kind of difficult, and I won't be able to get everything, like the stuff behind there. So I went ahead and clear coat everything. So done with the frame. Next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and lay this on the ground and go ahead and start attaching these fence panels. Kind of lay everything out just to get an idea of how all of it was going to look together. But the plan that I have is this brace right here is going to be where the bottom of the boards come to, because the matches are going to pretty much cover up to about right here. So I just need the boards to go down just a little bit further than the top of where the mattresses are going to be. So I'm going to put a flush cut on the bottom of these, so these fit nice and clean. And then on the tops of these, I'm going to have them all different lengths. They're not going to be nice and clean across the top. But instead of leaving them square, what I plan on doing is once I get these matched up down here on the bottom, I'm going to just draw, not really a point, but kind of like a rounded point, so it looks like a fence. And then once I draw it out, I'll just cut it out with a jigsaw. But so that's what I plan on doing now. I'm going to get started on this. Alright, so I'm done with all the wood parts to the gate, and the next thing to do would be to add the hardware to really give it that gate look. You know, I have like a latch lock and a little handle and then a hinge. It's really going to make it look like a gate. But as you can see, it's brand new hardware, and I don't want it to look brand new because look at this, look at the gate. You know, the wood looks really old, so I want to give it some kind of age. And I've never aged metal, so I'm not really sure the exact steps, but what I plan on doing is I have this hammered spray paint, which as you can see, it kind of gives it that beat up look, and I have like a rust color and a black, so I'm going to kind of do it in layers and just kind of mess with it and see what I end up with, and hopefully it looks cool and old. But as I said, it's probably gonna be some trial and error, and I'll just figure it out as I go. But that's the next thing I'm gonna do, is go ahead and age these brand new hardware. Alright, so I'm done. Just finished up this reclaimed wood picket fence door headboard. It was a really cool project. It was a lot of fun. It actually wasn't very difficult at all. You know, I just used some reclaimed wood that I'd gotten from an old barn, which was really cool wood. You know, it kind of came really dingy and old looking, and I just kind of cleaned it up by just sanding it down a layer basically, and it kind of exposed some of the under stuff. So it looked really cool. Use that, use some 4x4 posts that I collected from the beach, so those things are straight out of the ocean, so that's pretty cool. And as some backing behind the fence panels, I used some pallet wood, which you can actually see because all the fence panels they kind of have like a gap through them like you would see on a regular fence, and you can see that pallet wood back behind it, so that was pretty cool. So the only thing that I really had to like try to age was the actual hardware, which ended up being pretty fun because I've never tried to age any metal or anything like that, and it was a fun little process. You know, I just used some of that hammered paint, and I put like a gold color underneath and then a black on top, and then kind of banged it up with a hammer, and then and it kind of brought up some of that gold underneath, and it looks like rust. And then I actually took like a little torch and kind of heated the paint and metal, and it kind of made it actually kind of bubble up a little bit, and kind of made it, instead of a shiny like a gloss black, it kind of flattened the color, which made it look even older. So that was cool. So had a lot of fun on it. Like I said, wasn't very difficult at all, and I think it turned out really cool. So appreciate you guys checking out BeachBumLivin as always. Appreciate you checking out all my projects and stuff, and remember to subscribe and to like the projects if you do like them, and even check out my Facebook page. Guess I'll see you guys on the next project.